5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you for hopping in on a beautiful Wednesday evening. If you're in Minnesota, we actually are getting a little bit of snow right now, which, after the way this winter has been, is a little bit disappointing. As you can tell, we are a little shorthanded tonight. For some reason, both of these married guys decided they want to take the night off and spend time with their wives. I guess I don't know. Is there something special about today? I guess I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, for those of you that are here with me, thank you so much for hopping in. So we got a couple guys in here so far. Frozen North, how's it going, man? Appreciate you hopping in. Skol Mafia, thank you as well. Always nice seeing you on all of our stuff. So tonight, we figured we'd kind of go through a little bit of free agency wish list. We were actually supposed to talk about this on a Bleacher Report stream today that did end up getting canceled, so it kind of is what it is there. But yeah, start with that, and then we can kind of talk about whatever else comes up. I know something that I kind of wanted to get into eventually was the how people are feeling about the quote-unquote Justin Jefferson demands as it comes to his contract, which, A, I'm not surprised, and B, I'm 100% fine with everything he had to say. I mean, I don't think that there's, again, just reports. I don't think I've actually seen I think Tom Pelissero's name was connected to it. But Two-Tone, what's going on, man? Thank you for hopping in. Appreciate it. Exactly, Sarah. Happy Single Awareness Day, as I always said. I saw a random post pop up on my depressing Facebook from when I was like, 2014, so 9 years ago. I was 20 years old, saying Happy Tuesday, single people. So it is what it is. Gary, of course, thanks for hopping in, man. Appreciate seeing you here. Absolutely. But yeah, so first off, let's just hop right into this bad boy free agency wish list. Now, again, the first one, Patrick Queen, understandably, probably a little bit out of the price range, especially if we do want to re-sign some of these other guys we have. But we really could use that impact outside linebacker type guy. Patrick Queen would fit that mold perfectly. Again, probably going to cost a pretty penny, especially this season. 73.1 overall PFF grade, 4 sacks. Guy's a solid linebacker, obviously, for the Ravens. I mean, led their defense, which was phenomenal defense this year. So, would love to see it. Again, highly doubt that we're going to end up seeing that one happen. Next, of course, this is a popular one, right? Antoine Winfield Jr. Obviously, Antoine Winfield, popular safety, legendary safety for played a large part of his career with the Vikings. Safety help is necessary because I think we all kind of do get the feeling that Harrison Smith probably is out the door at this point. I mean, wasn't a great season by him this last year. Just looked a little bit slow. Curious if retirement's going to happen or what they're going to do there, but you really do feel like Harrison Smith's career is, as a Viking, is coming to an end. So Antoine Winfield, and again, who knows about Lewis Dean? I'm still holding out just a little bit of hope that maybe this year he'll figure it out, but of course that's some pretty far-fetched hope. Let's see what we got. I just wanted to stop and say hi. I'm getting pulled away a lot, but go back. Okay, sounds good, Gary. Appreciate you. Like Lewis Dean, hopefully, but we could really use a safety. Cam Bynum, by all intents and purposes, played pretty well this last season, really cemented himself because people were he was a surprise cut candidate last year. And I think he definitely played himself out of that role. And now he's a legitimate starter for this team next season. And with a guy like Josh Metellus, I feel like you really don't want to take him away from the role he made this year with kind of a jack of all trades defensive weapon. So I think we do need another true safety, and Antoine Winfield Jr., man, absolutely fits that build. Last season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 91.2 overall PFF grade, 92.5 in the run, 92.7 in the pass, and 85.3 in coverage. 6 sacks last season, 3 interceptions, monster. Again, probably going to cost a pretty penny to get a guy like this, but if they could find a way to pull that off, man, I would be absolutely jacked up and super happy about it. Jalen Johnson, cornerback from the Bears. I know he was a pretty popular guy. Appreciate it, Gary. Have fun. I know he was a pretty popular guy when he was coming out in the draft. The Bears ended up getting him. I know a lot of Vikings fans wanted us to pull him in. Again, solid veteran corner, and that's what this team needs. 90.8 overall PFF grade, 67.2 run in the run defense, and 91 overall in coverage. I believe he's had some injury issues, a bad shoulder for most of his career. So I think that's kind of what's hindered him a little bit. But you look at the stats, absolutely 32 tackles, no sacks, but 4 interceptions. Like, I don't know. I'd be an absolute fan of that pickup if, of course, could find a way to bring him in here as well. Number 2, Christian Wilkins, another guy that people are talking about. Obviously, when Brian Flores was a head coach in Miami, he was the very first draft pick he had and has been an absolute stud on the interior. And Jamie and I agree that one of the biggest issues with this team over the last couple of seasons has been the lack of a impact, what we call impact defensive tackle, and that's exactly what he was last year. 74.9 overall grade, 71.5 against the run, 72.8 pass rush, 10 sacks, 32 hurries, 16 quarterback hits, 39 total tackles. Man, absolutely awesome. I left a shank in the oven at 300 degrees for 3 hours, but now my house shouldn't burn down, right? If it hasn't already, I think you're in the clear. I think you're in the clear, absolutely. But yeah, man, a defensive tackle that could get 10 sacks and get after the quarterback. I mean, I love Harrison Phillips, and I guess, I mean, obviously bringing in this guy, he wouldn't quite be a nose tackle type. I do think we still need to find that, hopefully in the form of Tavondre Sweat out of Texas. But yeah, man, I would love to bring a guy like this in along the defensive line. How's it going, Greg? Thanks for hopping in. Smash the like. Absolutely. Make sure you're hitting that like button for us. We really appreciate that. Again, shorthanded tonight. Just me, Jamie, and Dave are both out on hot dates with their wives. So I'm here trying my best to hold the ship down while they're out having a good time. But yeah, man, this guy right here, I think, is one of my favorite guys for us to get. Pair him with a bigger guy, like Tavondre Sweat coming out of the draft. I would be absolutely thrilled by that. And of course, number 1, we're talking a little bit homegrown here, and that would be, of course, Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter, obviously, the rumors have came out. And again, he says that he wants a big contract, right? Like, I mean, he's going to find the best monetary scenario for himself, and I 100% don't blame him whatsoever for that. I mean, the first contract he signed was very undervalued. Spielman got him a year early, and since then, I mean, the injuries have happened, but he's been in on 1 year sort of prove it type deals, and he has proved it. I mean, the last 2 seasons stayed healthy. This last season, obviously, put up solid sack numbers, as you can see here: 10 sacks, 74.9 overall grade, 71.5 against the run, 72.8 pass rush. Yeah, man, he was the impact player on this defense. Got to try to find a way to add to it, but if they could retain him, that would be huge. It's going to be interesting to see what the price tag looks like on a Danielle Hunter type. But we'll see. Health as well. Yep. And that exactly. And I think, I mean, obviously a couple years ago, you could have questioned it, which is why I think the prove it deals were a thing. But now the fact that he's played well the last 2 seasons, kept himself healthy. I mean, I think he's due a pretty big payday. And honestly, I mean, he's young, but yet he is, I believe 28, 29 years old. So it really does feel like his biggest opportunity at a huge payday. So, and for his hopes for him, I really hope he can get it. Hey, how's it going, Yogi? Thanks for hopping in. Appreciate it, man. I'm trying to it's crazy. I mean, Minnesota, we've gotten one little dusting of snow all year long. And then today, of course, it decides to start coming down. I mean, you can't really complain about your first, like, relatively decent snowfall, being in mid-February. So Joey, how's it going, man? Appreciate you hopping in here. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Yeah, as I said, no Jamie, no Dave, just me. So we're trying to hold down the fort best we can. Snowing in New York today too. You guys are getting New York, man, pounded with snow every year. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. It feels odd being a Minnesotan and like all the snow has been like around the state and not here itself, which has been a nice change of pace for us Minnesotans who are so used to the cold and snow. Yeah. So do you guys, I want to know, do you guys have any free agents that weren't listed here that you would like to see come in? I mean, I think me and Jamie put this list together earlier, of course, like I said, for our Bleacher Report stream that didn't happen, but I think this would be a pretty solid list if they could find a way. To bring a couple guys like this in. I mean, even one of these guys would be huge. So not complaining. Yeah, two-tone Tony. Where I forget, where are you out of? Are you here, Minnesota, or I forget? But yeah, man, I would be absolutely thrilled with any of these free agents. I want to see if I can find Tyre Tart. That would be a good sign. Let's look up his stats this year. By the way, Dylan, thanks for hopping in, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Defensive interior. Let's see what he's got. Okay, 1 sack, 17 stops. So you definitely be more of a 6'2", 304. That's the type of guy that I'd like to see on this team for sure. I mean, I'm hoping maybe we can get a non-free agent cheaper option in the draft, going with like, I'm a big Tavondre Sweat guy. I mean, that's the guy that I'd like to see the Vikings get if they could. But any help along the defensive line that you could get at a reasonable price, I think would be absolutely huge. I would love to see a guy like that come in here for sure. Yeah, let me see here. I wanted to dive into. You did say that. You did say that. I appreciate. I didn't know how many people would actually show up. We're at 7 right now. That's much more solid than I was expecting. But appreciate everybody hopping in here. Let me see. Let's go for like Barber. What's going on, Barber? Thanks for hopping in, man. Appreciate it. Let's see what we got. And again, I don't know. I've seen this NFL notifications Twitter page pop up. I hear they're not the greatest source. I mean, I hear St. Cloud. That's where you're out of. What's we got here? Yeah, so that's what it was. Highest paid wide receiver. Detail a short-term and long-term plan at the quarterback position, and offense remains pass heavy. Again, I don't have any complaints about any of these quote unquote demands. I mean, highest paid receiver in history. We all kind of knew that was coming anyway. Long-term plan. I mean, I think short-term and long-term can definitely go hand in hand. When it comes to this, again, I mean, the people that are saying like he won't come back unless Kirk is here, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I just think he wants to know there's some sort of plan at quarterback, and then remaining pass heavy under Kevin O'Connell. We all know what's going to happen anyway. A pound of wings and GG Sports. I call that a good Valentine's Day. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's why I'm indulging myself on a Wednesday night with a little ice cold McGolden Light. Nectar of the gods, as some may say. But yeah, what do you guys think of this quote unquote list of demands? I mean, I know the trade him. You're really on the trade him train, huh? I don't know, Yogi. I don't know, man. Again, I personally don't have any complaints over any of these. I mean, I think they're all pretty run of the mill. Like, it's kind of what the expectations are. So I think that's kind of the way we're going here. I got Murphy, JJ, Chop, and Sweat. Really? I think did you post that one on Twitter, Moppy? I think I actually might have saw that. If that's how it worked out, me and Jamie have been doing a lot of mocks where we end up trading back and then picking up JJ McCarthy in the second round and getting a huge defensive tackle, like huge. I mean, that's a huge draft. Plus being able to get Chop Robinson and Tavondre Sweat. It's awesome. Steve, how's it going, man? Thanks for hopping in. Don't believe any of that BS, but he wants Kirk back. It's total BS smokescreen. I don't think he would hate to have him back here. Of course not. But at the same time, I definitely don't. I mean, it's not be all end all when it comes to him signing that contract. So, let's see, we do have some free agents to look up here. Let's see what we got. A couple from Yogi here. Jonathan Greenard. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. Let's take a look. All right, 78.2 overall PFF grade, 67.2 in the run, 75.2 against the pass. That's nice to see. All right, 35 stops, 14 sacks, 24 hurries, 10 quarterback hits, 48 total pressures. That'd be nice. I mean, even with or without Daniil, I mean, bringing another pass rusher into the building would definitely not be a bad job. You will do better trading back in mocks than Quasi will do in real life. Hey, I'm holding out hope, man. I'm holding out hope that this is the year. This is the year it clicks. It clicks with them, and when it comes to drafting, time will tell. Time will tell. If the Vikings draft Jaden Daniels, JJ will be elated. Absolutely. I actually watched through. I know Rap and Jamie did a live stream where they watched through some of like a 50, like almost an hour long clip of Jaden Daniels. I watched that same one last night. Everything I saw, incredibly impressed with. I see why he's getting so much hype right now. What else we got here? Yogi also is looking at Connor Williams. Center, I definitely am a fan of upgrading along the offensive line. That's for sure, especially at center. Bradbury, I think Bradbury's much better in a type of offense we're running under Zimmer, a run-heavy offense, but in the drop-back passing offense, he's just not big enough to hold up here. What he did last year with Miami, looking at 86.5 overall, 71.7 pass block, 90.5 in the run blocking game, which would be nice because our run game was not good last year. A little bit better run blockers would be huge. Only 7 penalties, 1 sack allowed only, which is nice to see. So yeah, that would definitely be a solid upgrade along the offensive line there, which would be something very much needed with this team right now. Then Dylan wanted to look at Robert Hunt as well. Guard for the Dolphins. Let's just sign Dolphins offensive lineman. If it works, it works, right? All right, looking at his stats this last year, 77.1 overall, 74 the pass blocking game, 75 is a pretty solid there. Only 2 penalties, 1 sack allowed. I would definitely be cool with that as well. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, me and Jamie looked at this guard out of, I think it was Kansas State. That it was something BB. He looked pretty good. Big guy. That's what I like. And then I know that center from Oregon is kind of climbing up draft boards right now as well. Another fact, if the Vikings draft Spencer Rattler, Steve will be highly pissed. I haven't watched enough of Spencer Rattler. All I know is the story, like the Oklahoma days when he was kind of the guy there and he ended up getting benched. But I mean, that doesn't always tell the full story. Mike Evans and Christian Wilkins to replace JJ. Yeah. I mean, the only issue with Evans is, I mean, obviously getting a little bit long on the tooth, but I think Evans is absolutely underrated. The fact that he's not under contract now, and the fact that he that they wouldn't really negotiate with him last year is just absolutely strange to me. I mean, the guy's phenomenal. I love the Vikings and Blue Purple, but I've never had less faith in a front office than I do this offseason. I hope I end up eating a full plate of crow. I mean, that's at this point, it's the best we can do, right? It's the best we can hope for. I mean, the front office is who the front office is. We're not changing. I mean, obviously not changing that at this point. So I mean, that's the thing. Quasi, I haven't been down on him yet. I mean, there's been questions. Obviously, the first draft, you wonder about this. I mean, obviously, not looking great. The second draft, a little bit better. Jordan Addison was kind of an easy one that was just handed to you at that spot. So this year, I mean, that year 3, just like it is with quarterbacks. I mean, I think this is a big year for him and Kevin O'Connell in their futures here. So I mean, you got to hope, you got to pray, and let's see. Let's just see how it goes here. Mike Evans is getting old. He is, but at the same time, I mean, 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. This year, everyone thought he was going to have a down year and kind of fall off. He hasn't done it yet. I think he had a better year this year than last year, and he helped me win my fantasy team. So I would be 100% down with that. T. Higgins. I do like T. Higgins. I do think Higgins is probably going to be a little over. I mean, he did have a down year this year. He's been injured the last couple, so maybe that'll affect his price a little bit. Who knows? Maybe he'll sign like a 1-year deal with Cincinnati and go for one more run at a Super Bowl there. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Draft Troy Franklin. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, the wide receiver out of Oregon. I do remember you talking about him. Let's look at his stuff from this last year. 84.9 overall grade. Again, I'm not as big of a PFF guy. I don't necessarily think it tells the full story, but as Jamie does say, and it's 100% true, it is, like the the only type of the only really like grading type of thing you can get for players. So 1383 yards, 14 touchdowns. Yeah, that'd be solid. I mean, again, it's probably more of an if JJ goes. I don't think that they'll be spending. I mean, they still do need depth at receiver, which is a good point. They got two good ones, obviously. And then, I mean, I don't see Osborne coming back here. Jalen Naylor's been too injury prone at this point, so hope maybe him, but who really knows? But yeah, I mean, adding more talent there and a guy like this would be absolutely huge if they could find a way to do it. And I mean, going 3 wide receivers deep, the fact that TJ, I think, will probably miss at least the first month of the season, it seems like, but I don't know if Tyler Boyd's a free agent. Big Tyler Boyd fan. I mean, I call him the best number 3 receiver in football. I think he's been consistent as hell his whole career. Powell, that's I did forget about Powell. Yeah, if they can find a way to bring him back, which I think they will. I mean, obviously he was brought in here because of Kevin O'Connell, so I do think I do think he sticks around. So that's solid. And I know he at least had good connection with Nick Mullins. So yeah, fun to see what he could do here. What else we got? Jets fans hate everybody, including the Jets. It's a good point. Would Vikings fans like Michael Pittman? I don't hate the idea. I mean, he's played relatively well for the Colts, and the Colts have been kind of revolving door at quarterback the last few years. So I wouldn't hate the idea. Two-Tone Tony, no to Penix. I've been on such a roller coaster with Penix. Like, I love the arm talent. His deep ball accuracy is phenomenal. The two things, though, and they both kind of go hand in hand with each other, is the knee injury first off. Knee injuries and the shoulder, and got a little banged up in the national championship game. But the other thing is if he's not, I mean, I know we had the conversation last week, I think it was last week, about him being immobile, which I don't think he's 100% immobile. He's not as mobile as the other guys in this draft. But if you're expecting him to be the type that's going to be big time extending plays, I don't think you're going to see that often in the NFL. And then in the national championship game, he was, when he got pressure in his face, that caused that deep ball accuracy to go away. And he had a few pretty ugly overthrows. And it just didn't look great with pressure in his face. And I know it's one of those things you can learn, I think, but at the same time, it's nice if you can get a guy that just kind of has that already. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we do there. Tannehill to Steelers. I wouldn't mind. This is a cold take, maybe. I wouldn't mind Tannehill to the Vikings if it was relatively cheap enough. That's just me, though. Kirk to the Raiders. I'm calling it now. I could see it. I could definitely see that. I mean, I've heard Atlanta. I mean, I know people say now that Belichick isn't there, maybe not Atlanta, but I think they hired one of the guys from the Rams offensive coaching staff as their offensive coordinator. Yep. So we'll see. I saw a post on YouTube, Fields going to Steelers. I did hear Mike Tomlin's is a big Justin Fields guy. I mean, I know there is that rumor, I think it was last week, that if Washington can't find a way to get the Bears not to take Caleb Williams, that they would they would take Marvin Harrison at 2, and then they would trade their second round pick, which is pretty high, obviously, to the Bears for Justin Fields. So if they could find a way to pull that off, that would be that'd be pretty interesting. I don't know. I'm still not the biggest Justin Fields guy ever, personally, but I mean, maybe if he got into the right coaching staff, fresh start might be good for him. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do in general. I mean, I firmly believe that they're gonna take Caleb Williams. I think from the ownership perspective, the fear of passing up on a second Patrick Mahomes-like quarterback, if he works out, I think that's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna be a bad look. And then the fact that I'm drawing a blank on the general manager's name. But the fact that he came from Ryan Poles, the fact that he came from Kansas City, who had Patrick Mahomes, I think he sees what a quarterback like that can do. Now, again, there's mixed feelings, mixed reviews on Caleb Williams and how people think he's going to be. But I don't know. I just don't think at this point. I just don't think at this point they can. I just don't think at this point they can pass up on that. The Bears are jacking the price up right now. They keep in Fields. You think so? So you think they're? I mean, trading. I mean, that's the thing. If they really believe that Justin Fields is their guy, then I mean, getting another haul for that number 1 overall pick, would be absolutely huge. So, I mean, obviously, me and Jamie talked about the Vikes have no way of getting up there. I mean, if you're the Bears, you wouldn't trade the pick that your division foe is going to use to take a quarterback. It it wouldn't happen that way. So, I don't know. Very interested to see what goes down there, and especially now that the season's over and we get into the fun of NFL draft season. Um, I'm really looking forward to that. Polls came from my town, Livonia, New York. They moved 20 minutes. Small world. Wow, damn, it is a small world. Still, F Ryan Poles though, right? Though that guy's got a lot of draft picks to work with, but he's gonna have to hit on some of those picks. But their future is looking not too bad either with all the draft picks. Do you think we should trade with the Pats to get to the 3 spot? Yes, I do. And I know I saw some reports, something out there today that said like they think it might happen by before the end of March if we do decide to make the move again. It might have just been an opinion post on Facebook. But yeah, I would absolutely, or Twitter, I would absolutely love if they, I mean, at this point, look, I'm a noted Kirk Cousins fan. I'll say I'm not a Kirk Cousins apologist, but I do like Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback, which again doesn't mean anything. I mean, you need someone that can compete with Patrick Mahomes, and we know I honestly don't believe he can do that. He's consistent as hell, but at the same time, I'm kind of in that boat too. Like if they brought him back, look, I'm not going to be out here cursing the Vikings fan base and all this type of cursing the Vikings ownership for bringing him back. I'm not going to be that guy, but I do want to see if, I mean, even if they do bring him back though, I do want to see a fresh face in that quarterback room and the plan for the future. And I think the best way to do that is if you like one of those guys enough just to be aggressive and go get him. And if those 3 teams decide we're not trading and we're just going to stick and pick and we're taking our quarterback, because I did hear that the Patriots are going to heavily consider one of the top 3 guys, which again could just be a way for them to jack up the price of the number 3 overall pick. We will see. But I mean, if all 3 of those teams decide that they don't want to move and they want to take their quarterbacks, and then you're sitting there at 11 and you, like, let's say JJ McCarthy has a huge pro day, he makes all the throws, kind of not gets rid of those the doubts that some people have about him, and you feel super comfortable taking him at 11 and he's your guy and you don't want to trade down and risk it. I think trading down is a solid idea if Kwesi can get good value, because there's a lot more holes in this team to fill than just quarterback. But if they can find a way, and if I've said it even last year, and I didn't really necessarily want them to make a move and draft a quarterback, if they fall in love with the guy and they think like we have to trade up to get him, or we might be taking him a little high at 11, like a JJ McCarthy, and they decide to take him anyway, just do it. Like if you get your guy, get a guy that you absolutely are in love with. I mean, if the rumors are true that we didn't try too hard last year because they were so infatuated with the quarterbacks this year, then just get your guy, get the guy you love, and get the guy that get your guy. That's all I have to say. If you love him enough to make that big move and give up draft picks, which sounds like Kwesi would be willing to do, you absolutely have to do it. I kind of like the path he's taking for the Bears. And yeah, and I think, again, whether it's rumor or whether it's the truth that he didn't take the Vikings job because he knew that because obviously the Bears plan, it does look pretty much rebuildy. They are still making moves, obviously bringing in Sweat this last year via trade and re-signing him and all that. Like I do think that they're trying to stay competitive, which they haven't really, obviously, with the lack of wins this last year, but they're definitely selling. They were definitely selling in the past, obviously with trading down for the number 1 overall pick to build towards the future. And I absolutely you can't argue that. And I think that is something that Poles wouldn't have been able to do here and I don't fault the Wilfs for wanting to be competitive. I really don't. I still think the Wilfs are the best ownership group in Minnesota when it comes to sports. I mean, and it's not difficult. Maybe A-Rod and Laura will have something to say about that, but we'll see. But I mean, I don't fault them for wanting to remain competitive, but at the same time, like the Bears definitely were allowing them to do what they want to do. It isn't Kirk's fault we haven't had success, but it is his salary's fault. Time to move on. Yeah, that's a fair point there. 37 to 40 million per year for a 36-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear is bad business. That's just my opinion. I agree. And that's why my thing is, if they do bring him back, if I'm Kwesi, I would tell him straight to put down a 2-year, $60 million contract. No trade clauses, none of that garbage. And just here's your contract. If you like it, great. If you don't, go explore the market. If you don't find what you like, come back here. You can sign it. We'll still take you. But no matter what, if you sign it or you don't, our plan is to still look towards the future, because that's just what we have to do. And don't think that's unfair because this team does have a lot of holes we need to fill. And I'm a huge fan of taking that 28.5 mil up front 1 year and just being rid of it and not having to worry about pushing it towards the future and then really opening up your 2025 cap, which obviously, I mean, having JJ and Darisaw and maybe even Daniil under contract. And if you do decide to make a splash and get yourself a big time free agent, you're going to have less cap, obviously. But without that, just take that big cap hit up front and let's just be done with it. Hey, Zoe, what's going on, man? Appreciate you hopping in. Appreciate you hopping in. It is just me tonight. We're rolling. No Jamie, no Dave, but we're still keeping it alive here. So, but what do we got? Steve, I heard if Vikings don't move up to 3 to get their quarterback, then at 25, Penix still there, they would trade with the pack and move up to get Penix. Vikings would get Packers second, next year's first. Interesting. So Steve, I want to hear your perspective on this. If this is true, and let's say the Packers did trade with the Vikings to get their quarterback, how would you feel? I mean, maybe if it's Penix, you would feel a little better knowing that you probably got us fleeced for an injury-prone quarterback. But like, how would you feel like the fact that you would make that trade and potentially give a division rival a potential future franchise quarterback? That's an interesting question. Like, when you even look at the Bears, like, could the Bears get offered enough draft capital and whatever else to move out of that number 1 spot with the Vikings, with the Vikings? I don't know. It'd be really interesting. Daniel Jones makes $40 million per year. There is no way Kirk Cousins makes less than him. That's the fact that, man, the Bears and signing Daniel Jones to that contract, man. I mean, I thought it was a bad idea. I thought it was a bad idea from the jump, honestly. Like, I thought it was a terrible idea to sign Daniel Jones. I'm not a Daniel Jones guy. One of my coworkers says he doesn't think he's that bad. I am absolutely not a Daniel Jones guy whatsoever. I mean, it's just I don't know. He's goofy. He's goofy. It is what it is, bro. We get them extra picks, so I'm good. That's true. And if Michael Penix comes in and our offensive line doesn't hold up and he tears his ACL week 1, then you're looking even better at that trade. And the Vikings and that'd probably be the nail in the coffin for Kwesi. Daniel Jones is horrible. I absolutely agree. I mean, yeah. I think that's all there is to say. Like, I don't know. He's athletic. That's about it. He's athletic. Just, I don't know. He just doesn't have it. Doesn't have the headspace. I just don't think he has the mentals for the quarterback position. And then you see, like, I feel so bad for Brian Daboll. I mean, I don't know if he had a say in that extension at all, which I'm sure he maybe did a little bit. And I think I heard a report too that they actually I think I heard it again at work that they believe in him still somehow, which I don't know, because Brian Daboll, that one when he was blowing up at him on the sidelines, that told me an entirely different story. But I don't know. Time will tell. I mean, it's interesting because they're a team that I think could be that surprise team that decides to grab a quarterback this year. I mean, yeah, they just paid Daniel Jones a lot of money, but I mean, if you don't believe he's the guy, and if you're the front office and the head coach who invested a ton of money into him, and it doesn't work out this year, that might be it for you, right? So, I mean, if you really don't believe he's the guy, and you want to sit and a quarterback, let's say, I don't think it will, but let's say Jaden Daniels falls to your lap at number 6, you do have to consider it. I mean, yeah, again, you have a high contract on Daniel Jones, but I mean, you'd absolutely have to consider taking a different prospect over Daniel Jones. And we've kind of already seen what Daniel Jones is throughout his career. Dontel should get a cut of Jones' salary. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he diced us up twice in a span of a month. Absolutely ridiculous. We were just talking about Daniel Jones and how he made far too much money. We aren't giving up next year's first. I mean, if the Vikings wanted to make a move with the Packers to trade up to 25, I think the Packers would basically demand. And that's the thing. It's like, what they say, desperation is a stinky cologne or something like that, to where desperation stinks. And that's why, like, if you're trading up, and especially with the Vikings, who are going to be known at that point to want a quarterback, I don't think that a team will leverage the shit out of you for that. I mean, quarterback, obviously the most important position in all of team sports, and trading is all about leverage and perceived value of things. I mean, yeah, that trade might not be worth a first round pick, but the fact that you're coming up for a quarterback, and the Vikings would be a known relative, like a known quarterback needy team, they would basically demand a first round pick for that. So time will tell. I mean, this is the best time of the year because you hear a lot of things and you don't know what's true, what's bullshit. I mean, it's pure, unadulterated smokescreen season right now. And in a lot of ways, this part of the offseason, honestly, the offseason of a whole, the offseason as a whole is honestly kind of more exciting than when you're actually watching the games. We might not even get Carthy at 11 now. Yeah. I did see that. I mean, I did see that a lot of people are wondering if McCarthy might even be a guy that um like really impresses at the pro day, at his pro day and the combine and everything, and moves into the top 10 pick conversation. And because there's gonna be a lot of quarterback needy teams. I mean, you even look at, like, obviously you look at the Giants being a potential one. You look at the Falcons, obviously. You look at the Raiders. The Saints could use a new quarterback. Denver, like, there's a lot of teams out there that really need quarterbacks. So Kirk just did. So pissed. Nah, you would know. I think if Kirk got an extension, you would know because the internet would absolutely explode. Vikings Twitter, Vikings YouTube, Facebook. If you use it, it would absolutely all blow up. I mean, I disagree. I really think they could. I mean, again, these guys' jobs are going to be probably going to be tied to how Daniel Jones plays this year. Maybe they get one more year after that. But if there's a guy they really love sitting at 6, I mean, like, and you hit on it and it works. I mean, because look at the if you look at the 49ers, obviously. I mean, they got lucky with Purdy, but the fact that they traded heaven and earth to get up to pick 3, they took Trey Lance. It didn't work out. They went back to Jimmy G. Well, I mean, Trey Lance got hurt, but they gave up on Trey Lance. Brock Purdy ended up playing well. Like, if Brock Purdy doesn't play well, then those guys are also probably gone, because that's a move that, like, a franchise altering move, throwing away future draft picks to go get a guy that just didn't work out. If Brock Purdy didn't work out, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are most likely gone. But the fact that Purdy has worked out is huge. And that's just the thing. It's like, if the Giants see themselves in that scenario where, hey, we love Jaden Daniels, we want to take, and he falls to 6, or they trade up, or probably falls to 6, and he's just sitting there in front of you, you have to consider it. Like, they're probably not moving. Like, they're probably thinking if one of these guys falls to 6, we'll heavily consider it. Like, I don't think they're going to trade, but I don't think it's actually, like, I don't know. I think there's a chance that they might make that move if someone they really love gets there. Like, I don't think they'd worry about looking stupid, because if it works, you're going to look brilliant. And this season, if nothing works this season, they're going to look stupid. So I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting. I got Lions fans pissed me because I'm laughing at them. A Lions fan said that they will own the division next 10 years, and Vikings fans are soft at Brown litter, and we're just salty. Brown, yeah, the whole look. I love myself some Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he is easily the second best quarterback in the division, or second best receiver in the division. But come on now. Amon-Ra ain't JJ. Amon-Ra is a primary slot receiver. JJ, coming into the league, some people thought he was just going to be a slot receiver, but he's proven he can literally do it all. And delusional is definitely the right word. It's like, act like you've been there before. We get it. The Lions haven't been there before. I get being excited, but the levels that they've taken it to is insane. The Lions won't be the same next season. They're about to get a real schedule now. That's also a good point. That first place schedule is something. We saw what it did to the Vikes this year. I mean, it's gonna be tough. And then plus, I mean, that NFC Championship game type hangover, like, it'd be crazy. Hey, what's going on, Jamie? Appreciate you hopping in. Lions getting humbled by a rookie next year. Yeah, Jaden Daniels. Let's hope. I'm on that Jaden Daniels trade now, man. I mean, because you're thinking Caleb Williams, Drake May, we're probably not going to be able to get. If the Patriots would trade 3, there's a chance for Jaden Daniels at 11, or trade down. There's a chance at JJ McCarthy, who I still have to watch. I have watched through a lot of the tape of 3 quarterbacks so far. I still got to watch the rest of them. But yeah, I mean, rookie quarterback incoming. Let's hope Trey Lance should go to Detroit. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. I mean, obviously Jared Goff. They're talking about extending Jared Goff. Even they drafted, drawing a blank, the Tennessee, right? Tennessee kid last year. Why am I drawing a Hendon Hooker? I mean, again, coming off the knee injury, he's a little bit older. Who knows how they feel about him? Trey Lance, I do think still has some potential. It'd be interesting to see where he ends up. What Sarah got here? They think they're the Chiefs and 49ers all of a sudden. Yeah. I did see that they fired Steve Wilkes, which is crazy because I mean, like their defense started off hot. They had a little bit of a lull near the end of the year, and they struggled at times throughout the playoffs. Like their defense wasn't like they have a lot of good pieces, but their defense got pretty banged up during the Super Bowl too. Though they lost a couple big time players there. But it does feel like kind of a scapegoaty situation. Yeah, to where like the first half of the Super Bowl, they held Patrick Mahomes relatively in check, got the interception, the first interception Patrick Mahomes is thrown in the playoffs. And they just couldn't do anything in that first half. They couldn't take advantage of the fact that the Chiefs weren't rolling at that point. And that's the thing. It's like you can't give Patrick Mahomes time. If you give him time, he's just going to beat you. So they had to take advantage of that first half, and they just didn't do it. No, Goff is one of those pure confidence quarterbacks. Like the fact that his play in Detroit has definitely come to the fact that he's in a much better mental space now. And he has absolute weapons on that team as well. 2 top running backs, top receiver, good tight end in Sam Laporta. So yeah, he's definitely not bad. He's a good quarterback for that offense for sure. I mean, is he a guy that can elevate a team on his own? No, but they said the 49ers choked. I mean, come on, they lost to the best of the best. Absolutely. I mean, even in a down season, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and that's ridiculous thing to think about. Could we just cut Madison before the season? So look, I'm still not a big Alexander Madison hater. I think Madison, like I respect, I like the fact that he actually got a chance to try to prove he could be a starting running back. It didn't really work out this last year. Again, was it scheme? Was it him? I think it was a mixture of both. I mean, the fumbles were an issue, of course. But I think Madison really thrived in the role that he had with Delvin, where he was a secondary guy. He played like 20, probably not even 20% of the snaps. He was the change of pace in a different way where you kind of have that quicker. Well, prime Delvin was quick. Last year's 2022 Delvin wasn't really quick. As you all know, I mean, if you don't know, I was not a very big Delvin Cook fan. But still, Delvin was a solid running back, and Madison was the change of pace bruiser back. And I think that's the role that he needs to find himself back in. I mean, again, it's unfortunate to work out. I feel bad of all the negative, like the heat he's taking because he is a good dude. But at the end of the day, I mean, as people say with Kirk, like good dudes don't necessarily win you football games. So can we donate him to an expansion team? If we don't bring back AJ Dillon, does he go to Minnesota? I mean, he's a type of, again, he would be that type of like he was for you guys at that point, a change of pace back, power back type guy. So that, I mean, I wouldn't hate it. Madison did not need to be back. He ain't even have the rushing touchdown. That's true. You got his chance, failed. It's cutthroat business. Thank you for your efforts. Yeah, that's true. Again, if they brought him back and they told him like, hey, you're gonna have a secondary role where you're gonna play, maybe you're gonna get maybe 6 snaps a game, like just that change of pace, rest back. I mean, again, once your starter tires out of defense, he could probably come in there and get some easy yards because he is a big guy. But I mean, this last season and his first full opportunity to be a starting back, and it like Dylan said, an absolute failure. I mean, yeah, not one rushing touchdown. I never thought he was going to have 1,000 yards to begin with. I was thinking somewhere in the 800 range, and I was still wrong. So yeah, disappointing to see how the season ended up for him. Again, I hate that I hate that people are lashing out on him over social media. Like, that's not cool. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game where you need to produce day in, day out. And with him, he just didn't. I hope we bring in the punt god to compete with Wright. I mean, at this, like Ryan Wright, I mean, I know he became a fan favorite in 2022, but last season, he was off. Hang time wasn't good. Directional punts weren't good. Like, it just, I mean, it really wasn't a great year for special teams in general. I mean, Greg Joseph didn't have he didn't have a good season. I feel like they almost didn't want to put him out there in too many high leverage spots. I mean, it just he wasn't like there's no 50-yard. He barely kicked any 50-yard field goals. He didn't have a good season. Punt. Yeah, obviously Ryan Wright didn't have a very good year. So it was kind of a down year from the kicking game for sure. So I do think some changes need to be made there. I have been a Greg Joseph guy, but it's over and done with now. I mean, bring in a free agent, solid veteran kicker, or I mean, if there's a guy you can get an undrafted free agency or what have you, find a way to bring him in. Dude has a boot. Absolutely, absolutely. A guy that kind of obviously, I mean, don't need to get into the whole story, but kind of got an unfair shake with how things turned out with him. So definitely would not mind bringing in a new punter. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a big offseason. And obviously it all starts. I think the combine is actually that 2 weeks. I think it's end of this month. And then, I mean, obviously the 13th is when we have the quarterback decision that needs to be made with the money. And then, ain't, ain't much of an offense when there's no trust for the run game and no trust in field goals. And that is, yeah. And to an extent, no trust in your quarterbacks. Cause obviously O'Connell didn't trust Josh Dobbs. He didn't quite, I think he trusted too much with I think he trusted Nick Mullins a little bit too much, maybe. So this is the most case you've ever talked. It is kind of true. I mean, when I have Jamie and Dave on here, sometimes they don't allow me to talk because they're too busy yelling at each other about if Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback or not. I don't really know. And I just kind of sit here and listen to them. And sometimes join in because I like to get them both riled up a little bit. Playing devil's advocate is kind of fun. Appreciate it, Steve. Really appreciate the compliment. I'm trying. It's the throat's hurting a little bit, but the beer's helping. I am so amped for this offseason. I know. And like I said, it's weird that the offseason is almost kind of more fun than the regular season, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, just like it's because it's so especially this offseason where there's so much uncertainty. Like we knew Kirk was going to be the guy this year. Like next year, we don't know, and for the most part, we're assuming most likely not. So I mean, and the fact that there's quarterback opening, we're in range to get a quarterback this year, and there's moves about making, and there's talk about making trade up. Like it's crazy. It's gonna be a super fun offseason. Hey, North Fias, thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate it. We want to hear you talk. Tell Dave and Jamie to hush. You guys, how about you guys do that next time we're all three of us are live together? It's not going to be for a couple weeks. Next week will be me and Dave. Jamie and his wife are taking a vacation, but then when he's back the next week, you guys should do that. When they're talking too much, you let them know. And I'll butt in and I'll have some things to say. Yeah, that's right. You know. But yeah, I'm because I feel if the Vikings, let's see, what do we got? I just want to, I just want to hop on a time machine to see which quarterback we drafted. So I don't. Yeah, I know. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited. It can't come soon enough. You guys all sound like my wife. What, telling you to hush, telling you don't want to listen to you talk anymore? Just kidding. I just want to win a card or cards for Sarah. We ain't we're not doing the card thing tonight. Jamie has the cards, and Jamie's the only like he's got to teach me. He's got to teach me how to use the freaking giveaway thing. I don't know how to use it, so sorry. I was thinking about giving away a T-shirt, and I forgot to have him show me. So yeah, someday, we still have T-shirts we have to get rid of. So we'll see. But yeah, but I feel like if we get the quarterback position locked down, we re-sign Justin Jefferson. We have Addison under contract for 4 more years. We already have Hawkinson. And you're probably going to bring back Darrisaw. Like that's a solid base on offense, especially with a young quarterback. And then you can just spend the rest of your picks this year and next year on defense. I'm down because outside of the quarterback position, that defense needs work. And I think it's so easy for fans just to be like, hey, this team needs a new quarterback and that'll solve a lot of things, instead of like, because we don't want to believe that there's more issues than just that, which I mean, we all deep down, we all know that, there's so much more, and it's mainly on defense. I can't wait till tomorrow when you can buy chocolate 50% off. That was one of the big things when I used to work at the grocery store I worked at up in Duluth. Getting to be the first one to pick through the markdown chocolates and everything, absolutely phenomenal. And I'm a big Reese's guy, and I feel like the shapes of Reese's are better than just the regular cups. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think it's fairly accurate. So, um, but yeah, because defensively, I would say the biggest needs are going to be. I mean, if Daniil comes back, and I would assume you could probably get DJ Wanham on a relatively cheap contract coming off the injury, 1 year deal or something. That maybe, I mean, you still might want to grab an edge rusher at some point. But then defensive interior, I think, is huge. We could take two guys there, nose type and like an impact pass rusher guy, and I'd be 100% down with that. Probably need another linebacker, need another corner or two. So there's definitely some work to do on that defense as well. So I think that's another reason why. It's just another spot we need to look at. And I think we could get deep. I think defensive interior is going to be huge, man. I don't know why, but I know when Field Daniels wants to be a Viking and be with JJ. That would be huge. That'd be huge. And I mean, the LSU to LSU connection would be absolutely huge. But I was watching Jaden Daniels stuff, like Malik Neighbors really jumped off the page. I see why that guy is going to be a top 10 pick. Absolutely. Like that's why if me and Jamie did that mock draft where we traded JJ to the Cardinals and then ended up making a move. So we had 3 and 4. We almost went with Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors I think that'd be huge for a rookie quarterback to come in with a receiver he knows and trusts. But him and JJ would be just fine together. I would absolutely love that. Just write their names on a little piece of paper and draw from a hat. Drawings are older than computers. That is a good point. That is a good point. But my handwriting is garbage. So I don't know, man. I don't know. There's no technology. Hey, what's going on, Dan? Thanks for hopping in. We have the weapons help young quarterback. Could use a guard and a center. Yeah, and especially in a pass happy offense like the Vikings have. I mean, obviously Kevin O'Connell wants to throw the ball. We've seen that. Maybe if you got a better running back in here, which I think could also be a draft need, I guess, unless they really like Ty Chandler. But yeah, I mean, I think we definitely need some pass blocking when it comes to guards and centers because the guys we have now very much seem to be like a run first offense type offensive line. So we do need I think we definitely do need help there. Jaden Daniels to the Vikings. Yeah. Again, I think that's for me. This is that's like knowing that we won't get the top 2 guys. Jaden Daniels is kind of becoming like the guy that I really want. If the whole rumor that trading to 3 would be a possibility. I don't want Bo Nix whatsoever. I haven't watched all of his, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge, like, I pay attention to college football, but like during the season, I don't watch a lot of it. I mean, I think I watched a couple of the big games with the quarterbacks just to see them. Like, I know I watched a lot of Quinn Ewers this year, watched a lot of Washington. I did watch a little bit of Oregon as well. And I watched the Oregon Washington games, which were both pretty good games, but I see the issues with both of these guys. I mean, Penix, you hear he's like the dink and dunk type guy. That's the type of like, I think he seems like a guy that'd be really good in the 49ers offense. And then Penix, yeah, the injuries, all that type of stuff. It's a little scary. I mean, I think there's a lot of talent to be had with Penix. I do think the ball explodes out of his hand. I think he's got good deep ball accuracy, but yeah, the injuries and dealing with pressure, like I do have a little bit of concern there. I don't want to trade up, but maybe for a top 3 quarterback. Yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely. Like if they trade up, it's going to be for nothing else than a quarterback. I mean, I 100% believe that. I hate these mock drafts that giving us these 2 guys. But because I think there was something out there. Alec Lewis said like Bo Nix is the preferred quarterback for the Vikings, which again, don't know if I believe it, but yeah, we'll see. Because I think he did a mock where the Vikings traded back up to the bottom of the first and grabbed Bo Nix. So I don't know. We'll see. Ewers throws in. He really does. He really does throw a nice ball. Like just I remember I was watching. I can't remember which game it was, but he threw just this beautiful. I think it might have been the playoff game. Through this like the first playoff game. Through this beautiful deep ball rainbow. It's just looks nice. I mean, I think him going back to college is smart. I do think one more. I think next year he could go in and be in the number 1 overall pick if he really kind of refines his skills. I mean, he made a big jump from year 1 to year 2. Now year 2 to year 3 could be huge. And I think they're bringing back a lot of their offensive weapons. So what do we got here? Kwesi should be fired if he does that trading up to take Bo Nix. Hey, look, a lot of people aren't going to like it, but in my opinion, if they like the guy enough, as I've said with quarterbacks, if they like the guy enough and he is their guy, go get him. So, I mean, again, Is it going to be the most exciting quarterback take? Absolutely not. He seems like the most boring quarterback from what people think. But I mean, if they love him enough and they want him to be their guy, then you got to go do it. We need it. And again, I'm not advocating for Bo Nix. I'm just saying, if he's their guy, we need to give KOC an assistant play caller, run game coordinator. Don't have KOC give it play calling. I mean, again, as I said, when it comes, in my opinion, as I said, when it comes to Kwesi and drafting this year, I think that Kevin, this is going to be a big year for Kevin O'Connell as well. Like, I know the rumors were out there that the front office really loves him, and I still think there's a lot to like with him. I think from a head coach perspective, I think he's phenomenal. I mean, yeah, but his play calling is questionable and suspect. And I think I don't want to put too much weight this last year because of the quarterback injuries, but this year is going to be, this year is going to be huge for the entirety of the team, front office, coaching staff, all of it. So I want KFC to spend some time with Tice learning how to call run plays. There we go. Might be what he has to do. Oh, I see. She's talking about that. Okay. Gotcha. Belichick goes to 49ers. Did you see they lose Super Bowl? Shanny will be fired. There we go. A little bit of Bill Belichick wanting to get in on a good team. Is there a coach? Hell not a Bo Nix. That does seem to be the consensus when it comes to Bo Nix and being a Minnesota Viking. I don't know. I mean, I definitely Nix is a 4th rounder, in my honest opinion, and I think that's definitely fair. It's just, as we all know, the quarterback tax takes a 4th, like a 2nd, 3rd round quarterback and propels him to be a 1st round pick, top 10 pick. This year, I do think everybody's going to prove that they deserve to be where they're drafted, I guess, unless, I don't know. It's an interesting year for quarterbacks, man. There's so many, it's a deep quarterback class, but you really do feel like, as of right now, it's Williams, May, and I think by the time it's all said and done, Daniels will be up there as those top 3. And then I do think you are going to see a little cutoff, a little drop down to like a JJ McCarthy type, and then kind of everybody else going to be bunched underneath him there. So I don't know. We'll see. Steve, I'll be sure to write that down. And once draft night comes around, we'll see. Because obviously, the Raiders, the Raiders are definitely going to be in on a quarterback. I know in that there was one article that I had read where they said that Antonio Pierce kind of goes back to his Arizona State days coaching Jaden Daniels. So there's a connection there, and he likes Jaden Daniels. And I mean, obviously, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Devontae Adams. I know I had heard there was some trade rumors there. Again, don't know if those are accurate or what his plan is, if he's going to try to force his way out. But having him, if they can bring back Josh Jacobs, it'd be a good spot for a quarterback to be, I think. So in that defense, I think Max Crosby on that defense is absolutely huge. So, yeah. All right, what else we got? Anybody else got anything? My voice is starting to get a little bit tired here. I've been talking for literally almost an hour straight, but I do appreciate everybody hopping in. It was nice looking at some free agents, getting some offseason talk. And it's the crazy thing is it's all only just beginning. Devontae wants Kirko. I did see that rumor that Kirk basically, he didn't sit there and call him a good quarterback, but he's like a guy that throws a nice ball. He gets it to his receivers and he's available. Like, as in, like, I think health wise and all that type of stuff. Well, normally he's pretty healthy, but yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Jalen Daniels, quarterback Kansas, will be next year's Jaden Daniels. Okay. We'll have to keep an eye on that one for sure. Cause I know obviously check him out. I'll absolutely have to do that. I mean, again, because if we don't get the guy, here's the thing, if we end up taking a guy in the 2nd round, like, there's nothing out there saying you can't take a guy next year if you have a decent pick and the guy falls into your lap in the 1st round. Especially with a 1st round quarterback, you're probably not going to make that move. With the 2nd round quarterback, you can definitely still make that move if the right guy is there. Because as of right now, you're looking at the too early quarterback look for next year is going to be Shedeur Sanders, and I think Quinn Ewers as well. So, and then the next year is probably the year you're going to get Arch Manning, which will be fun. That's going to be an interesting offseason because I do still feel like he's going to end up staying at Texas. He's going to sit behind Quinn Ewers again, make his NIL money, start for 1 year, probably be a number 1 overall pick. I mean, people are like wondering if he wants to get more playing time. I don't know. If I'm him, you sit there, you don't get hurt, you don't risk injury. You're still on the team. You get your money because he's what? Is he like top? He's like top 5 in NIL. Like, yeah. If I'm him, I'm staying there. I'm staying there as long as I can. Not as long as I can. Staying there, starting 1 year, getting drafted in the first round. So I don't know. It's gonna be a really fun offseason. And it's all just starting with the combine end of the month. Free agency is gonna be fun. Yeah, I'm ready. If the Raiders draft Daniels and bust again, another Heisman Trophy winner would be hilarious. Remember the other LSU, Jamarcus Russell? Yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. Those Heisman winning quarterbacks, they don't always. I mean, they don't always work out. I mean, the last couple. I mean, obviously Baker Mayfield won a Heisman. He was. I mean, I like Baker. I'm a Baker fan. But again, do I think he's lived up? I mean, obviously, you don't live up to your number 1 overall pick ranking if you've moved around to like 4 or 5 different teams. I like Baker. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's lived from an overall pick, but I'm a Baker fan. And then Kyler Murray has been injured, but when he's played, he's been solid. But you do got to see that a little more consistently. I mean, I think if quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, I think they obviously get him a weapon. Probably take Marvin Harrison, and that could be really interesting. Baker took time to cook. Yeah. And again, I like the people that didn't like because Baker coming out of college. A lot of people didn't care for the attitude. I love it. I mean, he was a walk on at a big time school like Oklahoma. I don't know. You have to kind of have the Baker Mayfield attitude. Like you have to have that, that aura about you. And I think Baker Mayfield, and that's the thing. It's like his opponents don't like him, like, especially in college, but his teammates love him. I mean, and there's a reason. We just have such a great supporting cast. I'm ready to see what a rookie can do. Absolutely. I mean, again, you need to see a little more out of the run game to help your rookie quarterback out. Hopefully next year, Kevin O'Connell just sees what he has in Ty Chandler. Like we gave Alexander Madison a shot. I think you need to give Ty Chandler a run. Like you have to go into next year with him being your number 1 running back. Give him a starter's share of snaps and see what he can do. I mean, you already know what you have in Madison as a starter. It ain't great. I mean, he is what he is. Like I think you gotta go into this next year giving Ty Chandler an opportunity there. And then you could probably beef up that offensive line a little bit, but you do have the continuity there next year. So that's good. That's solid. So, I mean, if they stick with the same offensive line, like, they could have improved on Bradbury. They could have improved on maybe at Ingram. If you can find a way to bring back Reisner, that'd be huge too. So I don't know. I do think there's work to do on the offensive line, but what they have there, continuity is good. They played well enough last year, but I mean, I don't know. Are you 100% comfortable tossing a rookie quarterback in a pass happy offense behind that offensive line? Probably not, but it is what it is. You have, if you bring back Reisner, you have something there to where if you don't hit in the draft, you're fine. You can stick with what you got, maybe sign another. I'm sure they'll sign a value free agent along that line, but kind of is what it is there. I guess time will tell. But I think that's going to just about do it for me. My voice is shot. I'm going to go drink some water and chill for a little bit. I really do appreciate everybody hopping in here with me tonight. Like I said, me and Dave will be back on next Wednesday, and then we should have the full crew the Wednesday after that. But again, thank you guys so much joining me on this beautiful Wednesday night. I think it's Valentine's Day. I don't really know. I've appreciated the comments, keeping the conversation going. Thank you guys so much. I believe me and Jamie have a mock draft dropping on Monday. We won't be live on Monday, but we'll be around. We'll be around. We'll be on the socials. Maybe I'll hop in some other places. But yeah, thanks everybody so much for hopping in. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes. Appreciate all the support.